Homeless boy shares last piece of bread with puppy on Christmas Eve, and what happens next is, as the bitter cold enveloped the city, this small act of kindness unfolded into a story far greater than anyone imagined. A tale of compassion, the unbreakable bond between a boy and his dog, and the pursuit of life's true purpose. Can a single selfless moment change the destiny of a lost boy forever? Stay tuned, because what happens next will touch your heart and leave you reflecting on the power of connection. Don't forget to hit follow to stay updated with more meaningful stories like this one. Thank you for being part of our journey. The icy wind howled through the narrow streets of Chicago, carrying the scent of roasted chestnuts and the faint strains of Christmas carols from far-off street corners. The city glimmered with festive lights and ornate decorations, their brilliance a stark contrast to the gray skies and the biting chill that seemed to pierce to the bone. David, an 11-year-old boy with unruly brown hair and eyes that betrayed a wisdom far beyond his years, huddled in the doorway of a shuttered department store. His threadbare coat was no match for the cold, and he pulled a worn woolen hat lower over his head, his breath forming small clouds in the freezing air. David was alone, a solitary figure amidst the bustling crowd of Christmas Eve revelers. His home was the streets, his bed a collection of cardboard sheets and old blankets. His only companions were the shadows that danced along the alleyways or, occasionally, a stray cat that wandered too close. He had been on his own for so long that the memories of a loving family had faded like fog at dawn. Survival had become his sole focus. David knew where to find the warmest spots, which shelters served the kindest meals, and which passers-by might spare a coin or a warm smile. He had also learned to read the world through people's eyes, discerning who was safe and when to disappear. But on Christmas Eve, the joy in the air only deepened David's isolation. Families hurried by, arms laden with gifts, their laughter carried on the frosty wind. Each passing smile and shared embrace reminded David of the life he'd lost, of the human connections he yearned for but couldn't reach. David clung tightly to his sole possession, a crust of bread he'd scavenged earlier that day. The hard, dry morsel offered scant nourishment, but each small bite brought fleeting solace from the relentless hunger. As he nibbled carefully, his gaze wandered over the bustling streets, watching faces lit with joy and lives filled with stories he could only imagine. David was an outsider, a shadow at the edge of the city's bright, festive tableau. As the night wore on, the cold deepened, the wind slicing through the city like knives. David shivered and drew his thin blanket tighter around him. The Christmas lights twinkled mockingly, their vibrant colors a stark contrast to the drab gray of his reality. The bread in his hand was his only comfort, and he broke off another small piece, chewing it slowly to make it last. Out of the corner of his eye, David noticed a pair of bright eyes reflecting the city's glow from the shadows. A small, scruffy puppy emerged from the alley, its tail tucked low and a faint whimper escaping its trembling body. David froze. In the dog's eyes, he recognized a familiar helplessness, the same look he had seen in the faces of other homeless souls, all searching for warmth and sustenance. Instinct told David to guard his precious food, but the puppy's frailty tugged at his heart. After a brief moment of hesitation, he broke off a small piece of his bread, his hand trembling as he offered it to the dog. The puppy edged closer, its eyes shifting from surprise to gratitude. Its tail wagged tentatively as it took the bread and began to chew, its faint whimpers replaced by soft, contented sounds. David watched the puppy eat, and for the first time in ages, he felt an unfamiliar warmth spread through him. In the midst of the bitter cold and the unyielding hardship of his life, a fragile connection formed, a flicker of kindness that made his heart feel less heavy. David broke off another piece of his bread, then another, until his meager supply was gone. The puppy, now full and content, curled up beside him, its soft fur a soothing comfort against the biting wind. David, momentarily forgetting his own hunger, reached out to gently stroke the dog's fur. Its softness, so unlike the harshness of his reality, brought a strange, unexpected solace. Puppy Buddy, a simple name that reflected the bond he felt. Buddy, as if understanding, licked David's hand, a silent gesture filled with meaning, affirming the nascent friendship between two lost souls. As the night deepened, the wind continued to howl through the streets, carrying the distant echoes of Christmas celebrations. But in the small doorway, David and Buddy found warmth in each other's presence. The fragile friendship between them was a rare light in the enveloping darkness. As dawn broke over Chicago, hues of pink and orange painted the horizon, casting a warm glow over snow-dusted streets. David stirred from his makeshift shelter, his body stiff from enduring yet another frigid night. Opening his eyes, he met the gaze of his newfound companion. Buddy, tail wagging furiously, greeted him with an affectionate lick on the face. David smiled, his hand instinctively reaching out to stroke the puppy's soft fur. Together, they ventured out into the bustling rhythm of the city morning. The hum of traffic replaced the silence of the night. David's stomach growled, and his empty pockets brought back the all-too-familiar pang of uncertainty. He had no destination, no plan. His life was a continuous cycle of improvisation, reliant on the kindness of strangers and fleeting moments of luck. Yet today, with Buddy trotting beside him, a glimmer of hope began to emerge, an anchor of companionship softening the weight of his solitude. The two wandered through the streets, their footsteps echoing on the frost-covered sidewalks. David's breath billowed in small clouds in the crisp air, while Buddy's exuberant energy offered a stark contrast to the somber atmosphere around them. The little dog's nose darted eagerly from corner to corner, his enthusiasm undeterred by the harshness of the surroundings. Occasionally, Buddy darted ahead, disappearing into narrow alleys before re-emerging moments later, tail wagging with uncontainable excitement. His joyful bark seemed like an invitation to follow, and David, drawn in by his companion's eagerness, decided to trust Buddy's instincts. They navigated the labyrinth of alleys, a journey that spoke of Buddy's uncanny familiarity with hidden paths in the cities. Eventually, they arrived at a quiet street lined with brownstone buildings adorned with wreaths and twinkling lights. Buddy, brimming with vitality, led David to a warmly lit doorway framed by evergreen branches and soft, glowing decorations. Above the door, a modest sign read, "Hope Shelter," its welcoming lettering painted in cheerful colors. David paused at the threshold, his heart pounding with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. He had never sought refuge in a shelter before. His fiercely independent nature had always held him back. But Buddy, with his ever-wagging tail, nudged David's leg gently, his eyes silently pleading. Trusting his loyal companion, David drew a deep breath and stepped inside. The warmth enveloped him like an embrace. The air was filled with the comforting aromas of freshly brewed coffee and cinnamon waffles. A small group of people, their faces kind and inviting, sat around a table, their voices mingling softly in the cozy space. A woman with a warm smile approached David. "Hello there," she said gently, her voice laced with compassion. "Come in and warm yourself by the fire. We've got food and a warm bed for you." David, overwhelmed by her kindness, felt a single tear roll down his cheek. It carried with it the weight of loneliness, gratitude, and newfound hope. For the first time, he had found a sanctuary, a safe haven on this cold Christmas Eve. By the fireplace, Buddy curled up at David's feet, his warmth a silent promise of companionship. David, heart swelling with a sense of belonging, realized this Christmas would be unlike any other, a night filled with warmth, kindness, and the enduring power of human connection. David met Mr. Carter, a gruff-looking veteran whose hardened exterior concealed a heart full of warmth. His stories of courage during the war and the unbreakable bond of camaraderie opened David's eyes to a world beyond the streets he had known. He befriended Mrs. Anderson, a gentle woman with kind hands whose tales of a bustling family and festive traditions awakened a yearning in David for the comfort of kinship. David shared his own story, hesitantly at first, but as the words came, they revealed a life marked by loss and struggle. The shelter staff listened with empathy and understanding, offering him a sense of recognition and support he had never known. Christmas morning dawned gently, its soft light glistening over the snowy city. The shelter was alive with festive cheer, adorned with vibrant decorations. The scent of cinnamon and hot cocoa lingered in the air. David, his heart full of newfound belonging, joined the others in the common room. Laughter and shared stories filled the space, creating a warmth that defied the winter chill. Buddy, David's energetic pup, played joyfully with other dogs, their excited barks and scampering paws creating a symphony of delight. The shelter staff distributed gifts, each one a symbol of hope and generosity. David's eyes lit up with wonder as he unwrapped a warm coat, sturdy boots, and a book of adventure stories. Each gift felt like a treasure, a promise of opportunities to come. Buddy wasn't forgotten either. He received a squeaky toy and a soft bed, which he explored with wagging enthusiasm. David hugged Buddy tightly, their joy a testament to the transformative power of friendship. Throughout the day, a sense of community radiated through the shelter. Shared meals, carols sung in unison, and exchanged stories built bonds that transcended the individual challenges each person faced. For the first time in his life, David felt truly at home, his loneliness replaced by hope. Outside, the Christmas lights shimmered magically against the snowy backdrop. David, with Buddy nestled beside him, felt a warmth growing deep in his heart. It spoke of kindness, compassion, and the enduring resilience of the human spirit. He had found a home, a family, a place where he could heal, dream, and begin to rebuild his life, one step at a time. The days following Christmas unfolded with a newfound rhythm for David. The shelter, once a makeshift refuge, had transformed into a sanctuary where he could shed the burdens of his past and envision a future brimming with potential. He embraced the daily routine, finding solace in mealtimes, small tasks, and communal activities. David assisted with cleaning, his small hands contributing to maintaining order in the shelter as a way to express his gratitude. He attended daily classes, his eagerness to learn starkly contrasting with the unstable years of street education. David voraciously devoured books, his imagination soaring with tales of adventure and distant lands. His expanding knowledge provided a perspective that transcended his limited experiences. David spent hours with Buddy, their bond growing ever deeper. They played in the small yard, Buddy's joyful barks and eager running serving as a necessary distraction from the lingering worries in David's mind. They curled up together in a quiet corner, David reading aloud from his favorite books while Buddy's gentle snores acted as a soothing lullaby. The shelter staff, moved by David's resilience and Buddy's unwavering loyalty, offered guidance and support. Their presence became a steadfast pillar in the boy's still tumultuous world. They encouraged David to pursue his studies, nurtured his creativity, and helped him navigate the complex emotions as he began to process his past hardships. Gradually, David began to trust these kind strangers and opened up, sharing fragments of his past, vague memories of his mother's gentle smile, the now imaginary touch of her hand, the day she vanished from his life, the overwhelming sense of confusion and fear that engulfed him, and the persistent loneliness. He recounted his days living on the streets, hunger, biting cold, and fear of the unknown. Yet he also spoke of the kindness of strangers, the rare acts of generosity that kept him moving forward, and a spark of hope that had never truly extinguished. The staff listened with profound empathy, their understanding and support providing David with a safe space to confront his past, process his emotions, and begin his healing journey. They affirmed his worth, his potential, and his right to a future filled with love and stability. Over time, David began to shine. He was no longer a homeless boy, a survivor of the streets. Now, he was David, a boy with a sharp mind, a compassionate heart, and a loyal companion. A future filled with hope awaited him. David's mind eagerly absorbed knowledge from patient teachers and the seemingly endless supply of books. He discovered a passion for reading, his imagination taking flight with stories of adventure, history, and far-off lands. He immersed himself in games and activities with other children, their bright laughter echoing through the hallways. His cheerful spirit became a welcome contrast to the shadows of his past. David gradually forged friendships, his heart opening to the warmth of human connections. Loneliness eased with each shared smile and whispered secret. Buddy, his faithful friend, remained a constant shadow by his side, a silent companion with silky fur. The two were inseparable, their bond deepening with each passing day. Together, they explored the city, their adventures leading them to parks, museums, and bustling marketplaces. Buddy's tail wagged incessantly, his playful barks a never-ending source of joy. As night fell, curled up in a quiet corner of the shelter, David read aloud from his favorite books while Buddy slept, his soft snores lulling David into dreams. They shared meals, Buddy's eager eyes reflecting David's gratitude for the simple yet sufficient food. Yet, despite the newfound stability and happiness, David's past remained a silent shadow, a hidden mystery lingering in his mind. One day, as David was rifling through a donation box of books, a familiar name caught his eye. It was a children's book illustrated with cheerful drawings of a boy and a dog, their faces radiating joy that stirred David's longing for connection. The author's name on the cover sent a chill down his spine. It was his mother's name, a name he had not heard or seen in many years. That name awakened a flood of memories, both sweet and painful. He brought the book to Ms. Madison, the sensitive and kind-hearted social worker at the shelter. His voice trembled, a mix of hope and anxiety, as he pointed to the name. Ms. Madison, her eyes filled with understanding, gently took the book, her gesture a silent reassurance. She recognized the name, a local author renowned for her warm children's source. She promised to investigate, her voice carrying a gentle determination and a heart alight with hope for David. Her investigation led her to a local bookstore, where she learned that the author had passed away several years prior. She also discovered that the author had a son, a boy who had disappeared shortly after her death, his whereabouts unknown. The pieces began to fit together, slowly unraveling the mystery of David's past. Ms. Madison, with compassion and resolve, shared her findings with David. Her voice was soft and reassuring, each word carefully chosen to guide him through the sensitive terrain of his past. David listened intently, his eyes wide with a mix of astonishment and hope. The information about his mother, her life as an author, her tragic passing, and the mystery surrounding his own disappearance created an emotional whirlwind in his mind. He recalled fragments of childhood memories, his mother's loving embrace, the stories she told about magical creatures and warm adventures. He remembered the books she wrote, pages filled with cheerful illustrations and tales that sparked his imagination. He remembered the day his mother fell ill, her vibrant spirit dimmed by an invisible disease, her laughter replaced by coughs and labored breaths. David recalled the hollow feeling that consumed him when his mother passed, the fear and confusion that propelled him onto the streets. Fragmented pieces of his past, once disjointed, now formed a clearer picture, a tapestry woven with love, loss, and resilience. David was no longer just a homeless boy or a street survivor. He was David, the son of a beloved author, a child who had once known warmth and affection, a soul who had endured and triumphed over adversity. Ms. Madison, observing the transformation in David's gaze, the flicker of recognition and dawning understanding, felt a wave of empathy wash over her. She ensured he had a safe space to process his emotions, to grieve for his mother, and to confront the pain of his past. She arranged for him to visit his mother's grave, a serene spot in the local cemetery where he could honor her memory, connect with the past, and find closure. David, accompanied by Ms. Madison and Buddy, stood before the modest gravestone, its inscription preserving the legacy of his mother's life and work. Kneeling down, David traced his fingers over the engraved letters, silent tears streaming down his face, a quiet release of emotions long suppressed. He spoke softly to his mother, his voice barely audible in the stillness of the cemetery. He shared his experiences, his struggles, and his triumphs. He thanked her for the love she had given, the stories she had shared, and the memories that had sustained him through his darkest hours. He introduced Buddy, his faithful companion, a testament to the kindness he had rediscovered in the world. He recounted the warmth and support he had found at the shelter, the spark of hope reignited within him. As the gentle sunlight stretched over the gravestones, David felt a profound peace settle in his heart, a connection to his past, reconciliation with his history, and a newfound understanding of his identity. He was no longer a boy adrift in an uncertain sea. David, son of a cherished author, a survivor, a fighter. A boy with a bright future ahead, a heart filled with memories of his mother's love, and a spirit guided by the unwavering loyalty of his furry companion. His story, a journey of resilience and the power of friendship, radiated from the Hope Shelter into the community, a ripple of compassion that inspired others. The shelter staff, moved by David's courage and Buddy's loyalty, shared his story with donors, volunteers, and local media. Their voices amplified the message of hope carried in the boy's journey. From a quiet refuge for lost souls, the shelter became a beacon of inspiration, welcoming those in need and offering not just shelter and food, but education, counseling, and pathways to a brighter future. Donations poured in, a testament to the community's generosity. Warm clothing, blankets, and toys filled the storage rooms, ensuring no one faced the winter's chill without comfort. Volunteers flocked to the shelter, bringing their time and skills to support those less fortunate. Teachers organized tutoring sessions, doctors provided health checkups, and artists led creative workshops. Together, they created a symphony of compassion and support. David, his heart overflowing with gratitude, witnessed the transformation of the shelter. His story became the catalyst, and his presence a beacon of hope for the lost. He actively participated in the shelter's activities, his thirst for learning and willingness to help inspiring everyone around him. He shared his love of reading with younger children, weaving tales of adventure with his voice, igniting their imaginations. He helped with daily chores, his small hands contributing to the shelter's upkeep. The efforts reflected his growing sense of responsibility. He even cultivated a small garden in the shelter's yard, his tender care coaxing vibrant flowers from barren soil. The garden became a symbol of hope, its blossoms a reminder of the beauty that could emerge amidst hardship. Buddy, David's steadfast companion, remained by his side. Together, they explored the city, from parks to museums to bustling markets. Buddy's wagging tail and playful barks were a constant source of joy. In the evenings, they curled up in a quiet corner, David reading aloud from his favorite stories, Buddy's gentle snores providing a soothing backdrop. As time passed, David and Buddy's story continued to inspire the shelter community. Their bond stood as a testament to the transformative power of connection, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, hope could flicker like a small flame, offering warmth and light to those willing to believe. When spring brought its fresh warmth to Chicago, melting away the lingering winter frost and painting the city in vibrant hues, the Hope Shelter also brimmed with a sense of renewal. David, flourishing under the shelter's care, had become a beacon of hope himself. One sunny afternoon, as David and Buddy played in the shelter's yard, a couple approached them. Their faces radiated a mix of hope and nervous anticipation. Introducing themselves as the Bennetts, their voices warm and their eyes filled with the yearning for family, a yearning that mirrored the longing David had once carried. Unable to have children of their own, the Bennetts had heard David's story. They were drawn to his intelligence, resilience, and gentle spirit. They spent the afternoon with David, sharing laughter and stories. They discovered a shared love of books, a passion for exploring the city, and a mutual delight in Buddy's playful antics. David, sensing their sincerity and warmth, felt the long-dormant hope in his heart rekindle. The Bennetts expressed their heartfelt desire to provide David with a loving home. Their voices resonated with sincerity, and David, tears welling in his eyes, accepted their offer, his heart brimming with gratitude for this unexpected gift. The adoption process proceeded smoothly, the legal formalities a mere formality compared to the undeniable bond between them. As David left the shelter hand in hand with his new family, Buddy joyfully trotted alongside, his tail wagging in delight. A sense of wholeness permeated the air, a chapter closing, new beginning embraced. The Bennett's home became a warm haven for David, filled with laughter and love. He cherished every moment, family dinners, bedtime stories, and weekend adventures. Buddy, his steadfast companion, continued to offer comfort and joy in this new chapter. David began to thrive in his new environment, excelling academically, building friendships, and soaring with the possibilities unfolding before him. David carried with him the memories of his journey, the kindness of strangers, the transformative power of connection, and the unwavering loyalty of a small dog named Buddy. Buddy, his silent protector and forever friend, had stood by his side through every hardship. Years passed, each one painting vibrant new colors on the canvas of David's life. Under the Bennett's loving care, he blossomed. Their home was a sanctuary of warmth and stability, their unwavering support a constant source of encouragement. David excelled in school, his natural curiosity and thirst for knowledge propelling him toward remarkable achievements. He developed a passion for science, captivated by the wonders of the natural world. David dreamed of becoming a veterinarian, a healer of animals, inspired by the love and healing he had received from a stray dog. Buddy, his loyal companion, remained by his side. Their bond never faded, a testament to the enduring power of connection. Together, they shared countless adventures, their laughter echoing through Chicago's parks and streets, a symphony of resilience and gratitude. David never forgot the kindness he had received at Hope Shelter, the empathy that rekindled his hope during his darkest hours. He returned to the shelter regularly, his visits a beacon of inspiration for its residents. His story stood as a testament to the transformative power of compassion and human connection. As a volunteer, David lent his now strong and capable hands to daily tasks, listening to the stories of those facing hardships. He shared his own journey, his voice sincere and powerful, offering hope to those who felt lost. He organized fundraising events, his passion for the shelter's mission inspiring the community to contribute and extend a helping hand to those in need. Buddy always accompanied him on these visits. The dog's gentle presence provided comfort, and his playful antics brought joy. Their story became a poignant reminder of the healing power of the bond between humans and animals. One Christmas Eve, as snow gently blanketed Chicago, casting a festive glow over the city, David returned to Hope Shelter. His arms were full of carefully chosen gifts, his heart overflowing with gratitude. He had come full circle, from a lost boy seeking refuge to a young man bearing hope and kindness. Gathering with the shelter's residents and staff, the glow of Christmas lights illuminated their faces. Their voices joined in a warm, unified chorus of connection. David shared his story, each word a testament to the transformative power of compassion. His journey inspired those who had lost their way. He handed out the gifts, each one chosen with care, a symbol of his gratitude and a reminder of the hope that had been rekindled within him. He saw the sparkle of joy in the children's eyes, their laughter echoing through the shelter, a confirmation of the spirit of giving. As the night drew to a close, David stood by a window, gazing out at the snow-covered city. His heart swelled with peace and belonging. He had found his place in the world, a purpose illuminated by the kindness he had received, a spirit guided by the unwavering loyalty of his furry companion. He had endured hardship, loneliness, and despair, but he had also discovered empathy, experienced love, and unearthed the resilience of the human spirit. Looking toward the future, his heart was filled with gratitude and hope. David knew his journey was far from over. It would continue to evolve, expand, and serve as a guiding light for those seeking refuge amid life's storms. What would you do if faced with a journey like David's? Could you find strength in resilience and kindness to overcome the challenges? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story could inspire someone who needs it most. If you found this story meaningful, hit share to spread the message of compassion and hope. Together, we can create a world where empathy and connection guide us, not just during the holidays, but every day. Thank you for watching. Always remember, even the smallest act of kindness can brighten someone's life.